の余力が6.3%確保できるとした見通しが示されが初めて示されました。
This is a certified Chatsy classic.
Welcome, my name is Jacob Temple, and this is my co-host, Gavin Bryan.
Hello. Today we will be talking about the water crisis that is our world.
We have some special guests joining us today. Special guest, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Jack Johnson. I am a student at the community school.
In one of our classes, we have been studying the water crisis and how there are some areas in the world that have very little or no water at all. And so in this podcast today, we're basically just going to be discussing what the issue itself and what can we do to help the issue.
Okay, so let's discuss the problem first. What does plague our world in terms of pollution?
Okay, so basically there is an issue in this. I forgot what the town name is in Africa, but they used to win awards for how much water they had and like how clean it was and crap. But now they're going through a really rough drought.
Oh my gosh. Can't say that.
You're asking to edit out. Okay, Gavin, I'll let you take it away from here.
So yes, Cape Town is a city or a town, so hence the name.
I think
in
it's
Africa. Yes, and they are currently going through a drought, and it's said to be one of the worst droughts of all time. And they are close to experience this day that people have been calling Day Zero, where they will be cutting off access to tap water to everybody who lives there. And due to some fundraisers that people have been doing and like how much water is being accessed to certain people, they have I'm trying to think, they have pushed back Day Zero. It is not coming as soon as it used to be.
But you know, the water crisis isn't only in Cape Town. We've also been seeing it. Well, we've also have seen this water crisis. Like, it's kind of throughout our whole world. Like, Cape Town is obviously not doing so great on their own. But another thing is that water is still getting polluted, like, all across the world. Even in our hometown of Spokane, there's still water, like these gross things. Like if you've ever been to Hangman Creek, which we went on for a field trip, you know that, we went on this field trip, and like we went to fish, but there were no fish really, other than like tiny ones that are very insignificant. But that's simply because of the pollution. There would probably be like trout and stuff in there if it wasn't so disgusting. Like if you've ever been to Hangman Creek, which everyone in this room has, most likely, they have the room is just, or the river is just gross. It's just brown.
and there's some spots in the river where it's clearer. Um, our teacher Brian had this virtual reality set up and took us on a VR tour of Hangman Creek. And there's some spots where it's actually clean, and the chocolate milk color fades away.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still bad though if it's in one area. Well, it used to be way worse, but it's still pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Like there's not a it's not like it's in good condition whatsoever. There's still a disgusting thing like happening all over the creek. Like I remember when we went down, there was just a oh my god, there's ankles. There was just a absolute there's just a pillow. That's what I was gonna say. There's just a pillow just floating through the water, and then there was just trash, to be honest. And then another thing is that I'm not sure where it's from, but I remember hearing that there was like sediment all
Do you say
over.
there's a pillow floating in the water?
Yeah, when we were swimming, or when we, the pillow was swimming, not us. When we were fishing, we were just like fishing. We cast our things. We got our weights on our poles and stuff. And then it's just this pillow comes along and greets us.
That's
It was very
interesting.
nice.
I'm sure it's probably some homeless man's or woman's pillow.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, they could probably litter. It's not probably that's probably isn't the biggest factor. It's probably mostly like runoff, especially from the golf courses. I remember when we were in our when we were with Brian, there was on the VR trip, there was a ton of golf courses. Like I've even seen them before. If you go through, there's just these massive ones, and I couldn't even imagine how much pesticides they use all over. But yeah, when we like the golf courses and stuff, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so what's something else we can talk about?
What could be polluting the water?
Facts! Well, there's like I think there's a lot of things that can pollute rivers, and that's the hardest thing, is that people
I mean, like
like
non-point source pollution, and whatnot.
yeah, and that's one of the things is it's really hard because you can't like regulate it, right?
Yeah, yep.
You can't regulate it because there's so many things that could pollute it unless you put like a giant ban over it, and then people are gonna get angry. So that is the main issue. But yeah, like if you had like a person, for example, that was like if there's some corporation polluting the waters, you can't just tell them stop as well.
I mean, well, you can try.
Like,
It's not gonna work.
well, yeah, you can try, but it might not. It might not work. Because they'll be like, well, what if we pay you money? And then a lot of the time, politicians will be okay with gaining money
Yeah.
instead of trying to fix an issue. That
Yeah, they'll
is-
look for a way around it. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and then there's also loopholes. They can be like, no, we are very technically following the law, even though it may be on like a very...
That reminds me of an article that I think we all read for school. Nestle, the chocolate company.
Mhm.
I guess they do more than chocolate, but every time I think of them, I think of the chocolate. Anyway, in Michigan, they were using water source for their products, but they were using I believe it was over 400 gallons per minute when it should be
per
200.
minute.
I think I'm right. I'm not sure.
Anyways, it was higher than you're supposed to, right? By
Yeah.
like a lot.
And there's like over like 8,000. I think it was over 8,000. Might have been 80,000. I'm not sure. There's definitely an 8 involved. Okay. But anyways, and only like 70 people. So the 8,000. I can't talk today. The 8,000 or 80,000, however many, they were against it, while the about 70 were for it. But they still were like, no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
We could talk about like non-point source pollution. We haven't really gone through that yet. All right, yeah. So non-point source is when there is a source of pollution, like cows, like anything like that, and there's very hard to deal with because it's something that legally is kind of opinionated, and when you get into these arguments again, yeah, it's just gonna be a politician paying people off and just like very like unjustified. And so yeah, let's say like somebody owns land and they're somebody upstream from them like owns cows, and those cows are like grazing on the edge of the river, polluting it. It's kind of hard to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really hard to
Very
deal
thin
with because like you can't pinpoint it at all. You can't like just say, "Hey, stop," because even though you might have stopped that guy, maybe
There's still
there
other
might
people that
be.
will do it.
Yeah, there could be thousands of other people that are still committing the act, and nobody knows. But then you could also end up getting into an argument with them about the rights that private landowners have.
Exactly.
But I could
So-
just take it back to the business thing, business people claiming or finding a way out to get out of the trouble or get out of
Yeah,
water
I mean,
usage.
it's not only like big corporations that pollute. It could be like pretty much anybody. Even we pollute. You and I have probably polluted hundreds of times
Yeah.
because
That's why it's such a sensitive topic.
well, yeah, kinda, but it's also like we don't really think about it,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we've all probably ended up, whether it was intentional or not, have like just taken a candy wrapper and said, you know what, it man, and then just thrown it out. Or we all, even if it's like something we didn't even know polluted, like actually, even when you just wash your car, in a lot of cases, you will end up destroying, like, because that runs into the water treatments through your driveway, and then I don't remember. I read an article about it in like middle school, so it was a long time ago, but I still don't remember it so well. What about the United Nations?
Like what can I do?
Well,
Are
they've
you
done
talking? Like what can I do?
they've done a lot of things to try to fix it,
Are you
but I'm not
talking?
sure if they really should.
Why?
Yeah. The thing
Why?
is, I feel like it's very useless for them, because a lot of the human rights that they've already like established are still unenforced. So they're going through all this time and we're probably spending like money, and it's gonna be pretty much for nothing. Like, there's gonna be people. I mean, I guess it'll give like a reason for certain arguments, but I feel like it's not going to be something. Again, yeah, it's going to be super hard for them to enforce, and there are so many people already in like such tough issues that like it's just making a simple like sentence.
Yeah, and I
in
mean,
a
like a
book
lot of
isn't going to really change.
countries, like Cape Town, for example, that's a good one. Cape Town, they couldn't even afford to do that at the current state that they're in because of their water crisis. And so even if you heavily enforce that
Exactly.
rule, then it wouldn't make sense to try to enforce it.
Well, there's also an issue with water, like when we first started this video, I stated that it's an issue because not everyone has it. We could talk about that.
What?
Remember how when we started the video, I stated that water is an issue. I think I stated it because not everyone has it. There's places that have very little or no water at all.
Yeah, and
And
that's you
what
go.
were you gonna say, Jack? So the UN could fix that. I believe they could fix that. They could they could Jack, I'm stuttering here. You take it away, buddy.
Well, what do you mean? Like a lot of countries.
So they could so water is a human right.
Well, it's not at the moment.
No, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Not at the moment, but it could be if the United Nations make it a human right, and I believe they should make it a human right because you need water to live. You know, it's a
Yeah, but
human
I don't
need.
know. It doesn't seem like
I just don't see the effect that it's going to
yeah,
have.
and it's not seen very well to make a resource a right.
Yeah. Okay.
That doesn't work
Yeah. Okay.
so well in general.
Because then it changes like people that are already like comfortable or like they're okay. It's gonna affect them, and so people.
Yeah,
don't-
but it also could affect the people who are privatizing water. You know, like rich people.
Yeah, I don't know, cause like
That's exactly why they wouldn't want it to pass.
like it's fairly difficult because like oh no, I messed up my Minecraft staircase.
Where I'm having all kinds of issues right now.
But like because that's just, like making a resource a right hasn't proven to work. Like that's why a lot of times I guess you could say communism hasn't worked. Is because
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
it could like make everyone else, it can, like Gavin said, it can drag people down, but it's like making water a human right, especially with what we've discussed with like how countries might not even be able to follow the law. Not that they don't want to, not that it's that they can't.
They just don't have the time and
They don't have the resources.
Exactly.
And then eventually, like, if a bunch of countries, like, I'm not sure how valid this is for me to say, because I'm not sure if it makes that much sense, but if you have, like, I don't know, I don't think that, actually, this is something that could happen eventually if we don't start trying to fix our water, is people will, like, start fighting over it, whether it's countries or like municipalities or just people in general. They might, because like countries, like you need water, everyone does, on a commercial level or any level really.
just to live. You
And
need it.
so you can't like just go in and like you can't just go in and take the water, and so people could potentially start fighting over it.
Exactly. It's just gonna bring up a whole new argument point for people.
Yeah, like we already have people fighting over things like oil. So
Yeah, exactly.
like a lot of oh, never mind that. But you,
Like,
Yeah.
command
yeah, I
zone.
don't know. Water, like we need to fix it, but
But how?
it's so
But
hard. Yeah,
how?
we can't figure it out.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
can't figure out how to do this.
Like,
It's because everybody's in such a different position, and they have their
like
own
it's not
opinions
something that
over
you
it.
can just do overnight.
Yeah, it's not something that
Exactly.
you can just be like, hey, we're gonna make water really nice, or it's not something that you can pour $1 billion into and then voila, you have your answer. You
Yeah,
have
exactly.
to
Yeah.
actually think of how, and then also you have to persuade companies like corporations to stop their actions. And even though a lot of them may say that they're trying to do things, unless you can show me like undeniable evidence that they are legitimately taking steps, I don't really buy it, to be honest. I think that it's for
Yeah.
publicity. Yeah, so like I think it's really what was I saying? Like you can't corporations and stuff, it's hard for them. Like I don't really buy it if they say that they're going to put a ton of money into fixing how they do things, because
Yeah.
oftentimes
Yeah.
it's just for publicity.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's to make people like that
So
could
you're-
potentially be like boycotting their service. Think
So you're saying
that
you want-
it's a reliable like
You're saying you want
corporation.
undeniable proof before you buy into that crap.
Things like, I don't know, you could take, for example, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook and its data selling point, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the point of that's not what we're talking about. There's like
Yeah.
a lot of, like they have shown us they're trying to make cars that run on solar power, but are still efficient and fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really think that
No.
there's something that we can do, but I don't know what it is, and I don't think that really that many people know what it is, because making it a right or whatever won't make there be more water.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can just put something in a
Mm.
book that'll fix it. You have to fix it. And I mean, we're in dire need. We're kind of on the cusp of being screwed. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hold on, what's something else we can talk about?
Well, I think there's a lot of things we could do to fix it. Like, not as like government officials or anything. Like as humans, like or not as
Yeah.
civilians.
Like, I don't think that we need to. I don't think it's completely the government's fault, or completely corporations' fault, or completely
I agree.
anyone's fault. Because even civilians, like I said earlier, whenever, like, if you wash your car in your driveway, you're taking that soap, and then the soap goes down into our water systems. And
Mhm.
if that water system does pour out somewhere, then that's obviously not that good.
How it's not necessarily the government's fault.
Yeah. Oh, and like what we can do to fix it.
Well, yeah, what can civilians do? What can your average Joe do?
They could potentially just be more aware.
Yeah, be more
At
conscious.
most times, like they can learn about like specific issues that they could be potentially like causing, and then figure out what they can do to at least maybe
To, like,
not
minimize it.
minimize, yeah.
Yeah, because like a lot of people, even though they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't pollute," it's like you kind of do. And that's facts.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something that anybody can do is just be more conscious
Yeah,
about like what you're doing. And how you're
Yeah,
affecting-
like in our schools can like teach it. You know, which ours are.
yeah,
Yeah.
like making it more aware, but I'm not sure because like even though like our schools do this and stuff, we still might not support, or we might not still like actually consciously think about it frequently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause, like-
Okay.
So like instead of putting around like your average like no littering sign, maybe like something like pick up litter if you see it, because I feel like that's going to be
More
less of a-
effective.
Exactly, because people are like, yeah, I know not to litter, but they don't really
But
think about how they could be more positively instead of just ignoring the facts.
Okay.
Yeah, again, it takes back to like the quote, like practice what you preach. Like there's a lot of people
Yeah.
that are like saying to do these things, but they're not physically doing them. And it's not that they're like doing this.
It's not that they're a
being
bad
aware.
person.
Exactly. It's just they're not necessarily thinking. They're like, oh, I'm telling people to do this. It makes me changing and being effective, but they don't go out and do it themselves. And like
Yeah.
like you said, it's not making them not super aware about it.
But what's something else that has to do with water or pollution?
Yeah. I just have like more. Cool.
I don't know. How could we enforce it?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. That's something that's always super hard because it's one of those things. It's just so hard to enforce water pollution.
I think there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
bunch of answers to that.
What do you think the answers are, Jacob?
Well, I mean, I think you could have like fine, which I'm sure there are already fines in place if you
Yeah, there
Like
are
doing
littering fines. It's just that
polluting
again,
acts.
yeah, it's just that when it comes to enforcing it again, it never happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think a potential issue could be, I had this on my tongue, like specifications, because like laws themselves, there's probably a law saying like, don't pollute, but what are the specifics to those laws? Like, are there super fine specifics or loopholes that people will be able to like find? I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
that's like a issue because it's so hard to find somebody, or you never really know if they've done something
Yeah,
illegal. Like,
and I mean,
Because
you don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to put like a ton of money, and if you see like a empty can,
yeah,
you don't want to be like,
towing, like
we must
crime
do
check.
forensic. We
Yeah.
must do a forensic analysis.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's super unrealistic because people think it's such a small thing, and it's like, oh, it's only one can. They build up, and that's exactly why people pollute in
Yeah.
the first place, because they don't necessarily think of the repercussions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't think. They think in the now. They don't think in the long. Like a lot of
Yeah.
pennies build up to like $1.
and
Like
another thing. Oh,
a
you
lot
go,
of
Jacob.
garbage will build up to pollution eventually.
Like, but we can only really blame ourselves because, like, if you think, actually, whenever cars were first starting to come out instead of like, carriages,
Yeah.
and stuff,
Yeah.
you had to think like people. Stop it, Jacob.
Yeah.
There would be people that Like, there's actually a car that ran off of hydrogen instead of gasoline.
I'm gonna put my thing on
And,
quick. My brother's
but
calling
the
me.
only problem, okay, the only problem with that is that obviously cars run on gasoline, so the hydrogen cars didn't do so well.
Exactly.
But like, people just chose it because it was faster. And I mean, it's hard to blame them when we didn't have like as much knowledge as we did back then. But if we had hydrogen cars in our current world, it would be so difficult. Or like life would be so much easier on our planet.
Exactly.
If our cars were all running hydrogen instead of gasoline, we wouldn't have holes in our ozone, or at least as many frequent holes in our ozone. Hello?
Oh, I think Jacob just did that.
But yeah, and it's kind of the same for water, right? And like a lot of things, pretty much everything that's been causing pollution in our current world.
Yeah. The issues with them are, you know, it's people think small, and you know, it's one of those super sensitive topics. You know, it's super hard to make decisions about it because so many like angles on it and different positions.
Mm-hmm. And well, yeah, but like we couldn't have. You also have to like think how we couldn't have thought of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like we wouldn't think, oh yeah, 100 and some years from now, we're going to have most of our states in a water crisis.
Exactly.
Nobody was thinking of it. They were thinking, dude, I can make a car that goes 20 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Let's repeat it.
Exactly.
Well, I think that this will conclude our broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit disorganized,
Yeah.
but I think that we still could have shown what we mean. And I think, at least for me, a big thing is that people just need to discuss it. Like,
Exactly.
we obviously do need a solution, but it's also good if we discuss it and we at least acknowledge that this problem exists
Exactly.
in our current society.
Yeah, it's one of the big issues is, yeah, acknowledgement. You know, just having that knowing that there's an issue. Because I feel like knowing of an issue brings just enough, like, thought into somebody's mind that it can be changed and they'll take more action.
Exactly, because if you think about it, you'll probably have more thoughts on it,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll eventually
gain more opinions, you know, start taking action on those.
Yeah, you can make a call to action, and even if you just like do what we did and you just sit down with someone, it doesn't even have to be as long as we did. It could be like 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And you guys just have a casual conversation about it. At least you're thinking about it, and hopefully the word will be spread.
Exactly. We would like to.
And who knows, maybe you'll put that information into the hands of somebody who can solve this problem.
Yeah, dude. Physical change. So we would like to thank everybody that joined us in this broadcast. My co-host, Jacob Temple. Would you like to acknowledge any special guests that we had today?
Yo,
Yeah,
Jack
we
Johnson, thank you
Yep.
for helping us with this, and I want to thank Grant Gibbs for editing this video.
And
Indeed.
And yo, people, I don't know what I was gonna say. Oh, well, look out for more stuff on this channel, because this is kind of fun making this video. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I enjoyed it. I thought.
Her name is Nora. I had a dream about her. She rings my bell.